The garden party was in full swing when I arrived. White tents were spread out on the meticulously manicured lawn. Smartly dressed waiters strolled about with glasses of champagne and tapas, and at least 60 guests mingled under the warm afternoon sun. This was my mother's annual spring celebration, bigger and more expensive than last year's. I noticed the guest list had grown from 40 to 60, and the food had been upgraded from ordinary to sumptuous. I spotted her near the marble fountain, surrounded by her friends from the country club. Women in pastel dresses and eye-catching jewelry. Men in expensive casual wear. She was wearing a designer dress I recognized from our shopping trip last month. The one we saw at Neiman Marcus. The $4,000 dress. I remembered her trying it on, twirling in front of the mirror, saying, "I deserve this." "Here you are," she said when she saw me approaching. Her smile was forced. "You're late. The traffic was bad. Happy spring, Mom." Her friend Amelia looked at me, her gaze fixed on my simple cotton dress. "Is this what you're wearing?" I said calmly. "It's comfortable." The mother's jaw tightened. "Can you at least pretend to make an effort? These are important people." "I'm here, aren't I?" She turned to her friends, ignoring me. I headed over to the drinks table and exchanged pleasantries with the guests I knew. Most were from my mother's circle of acquaintances. Women dining at upscale restaurants and men playing golf at exclusive clubs. I grew up in this world, but I never quite fit in. Even as a child, I preferred books to parties and saving money to spending it. My mother was always embarrassed by this. An hour into the party, I was talking to one of the caterers about their work when my mother appeared beside me. She whispered, "What are you doing?" "Having a conversation. With everyone's help." Her face turned red. "Do you have the slightest idea what this looks like?" I was asking about their catering company. "They do an excellent job." "You're making me look bad." Her voice rose, attracting some glances. "Mom, I was just..." "Your embarrassment." The words came out loud and sharp. Silence fell over the entire garden. Then she slapped me across the face. The sound of the slap echoed throughout the garden. My cheek burned. My eyes watered from the force of the blow. 60 people stared at us in stunned silence. She screamed, "Get out! Get out of my house!" I touched my face and felt the heat. For a moment I couldn't move. Then I picked up my bag from the nearby table. I said quietly, "Understood." I walked through the silent crowd, past the shocked faces, past the frozen waiters with their trays. No one said a word. I got into my car and drove home, my cheeks still burning. That evening, I sat in my apartment and thought about the accounts. All the accounts I had managed over the past 7 years. The ones my mother didn't think I knew anything about. The ones she certainly didn't know I was funding. The story began with my father's death. He left my mother the house, but very little. His small consulting firm had gone bankrupt 2 years before he died, depleting their savings as he desperately tried to save it. He had to borrow, exhaust his credit cards, and borrow from friends. His life insurance barely covered the funeral expenses and some urgent debts. My mother was devastated, not just by grief, but by the sudden realization that she was bankrupt. The house was still mortgaged for $380,000. Property taxes were $15,000 a year. She had $67,000 in credit card debt. Her car lease had 2 years left, and she was paying $890 a month. Her country club membership, which she insisted was essential to her social standing, cost $18,000 a year. She came to me in a state of extreme despair 3 months after the funeral. She said, "I can't lose the house. I can't lose everything. This is all I have left of your father." I was 27 years old at the time, and I had achieved great success in my technology career. I had just sold my first startup for $8 million. My mother was unaware of the sale, and she never asked me about my job in the computer field. She asked, "How much do you need?" "My mortgage payments are 3 months behind. Property taxes are due. I have credit card debt." I looked at the numbers. The situation was bad. Very bad. Without help, she would lose everything in 6 months. So I made a decision. Through my business manager, I set up a system. My investment accounts automatically transferred funds to cover my mother's expenses. Mortgage, property taxes, utility bills, club membership fees, car payment, credit cards, everything. The payments came from accounts in my business manager's name. My mother received notifications that an anonymous donor had set up a trust for her. She never questioned it, never wondered who was behind it. For 7 years, I financed her lifestyle. The house, the parties, the designer clothes, the lavish vacations. All at the expense of her daughter, who embarrassed her. I kept working, started my second startup, and invested wisely. Capital grew from $8 million to $40 million. I could afford to support her. It seemed easier than facing the reality that she hadn't become financially independent after her father's death. But as I sat in my apartment with my face covered in a hand-shaped bruise, I made a different decision. On Monday morning, I called my finance manager. I said, "Accounts that support Amelia Anderson. I want all automatic transfers stopped immediately. He paused for a moment. All of them. Everything stops today. Mortgages, credit cards, utilities, club memberships, everything will stop. You will receive a notice that the trust fund support has ended. Are you sure about this? Absolutely sure. Understood. I will terminate the services within an hour. After that, I contacted the mortgage company directly. This is regarding account number 2847 on Riverside Drive. I am the guarantor for this mortgage. I will officially cancel my guarantee effective immediately. The employee checked her system. Ms. Anderson, you have been the guarantor for 7 years. If you cancel your guarantee, the primary account holder will have to meet the conditions on her own, or the loan will be canceled. I understand. Are you sure? Yes, I will process the paperwork. Ms. Amelia Anderson will be notified within 48 hours. I spent the rest of Monday making similar calls to the credit card companies whose bills I was authorized to pay, the country club whose membership fees I covered, and the luxury car dealership whose lease I guaranteed. By Tuesday afternoon, the system I had built over 7 years had completely collapsed. On Wednesday morning, my phone rang. It was my mom's number. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. There's something wrong with my accounts. The bank says my mortgage payment has been rejected. Call me. On Thursday, I called 6 times. I deleted every voice message without listening to it. On Friday afternoon, I arrived at my office building. Security called. I said, "Tell her I'm unavailable." She's very insistent, Miss Anderson. She says it's an emergency. Tell her to set a date with my help. She's asking about some accounts. She seems very upset. It's none of my business. The security guards persuaded her to leave after 20 minutes. That evening, I received a text message from my Aunt Eleanor, my mother's sister. Your mother called me crying. Something about her accounts being frozen. Do you have any information about this? I did not reply. On Saturday, I received more calls. On Sunday, my phone kept ringing. I turned it off and spent the weekend reading. On Monday, exactly 1 week after the party, the finance manager called me. He said, "I'm getting calls from several creditors. Your mother's mortgage payment has been declined. Her credit cards are being declined. The country club called about unpaid fees. The car rental company is threatening to repossess the car. As expected, she has also hired a lawyer. They are trying to find out who was behind the trust. They will find nothing that warrants legal action. The terms of the trusteeship explicitly state that support can be terminated at any time and for any reason. They claim to have been subjected to financial abuse by older people." She laughed. "She's 62 years old and perfectly capable of managing her own finances, or she would be if she lived within her means. They also claim that you had verbally agreed to continue the support. There was no agreement between us. I provided assistance anonymously through a trust fund. That assistance has ended. There is nothing illegal about it." Understood. I will ask our legal team to prepare a response. On Tuesday afternoon, my assistant's office bell rang. "Your mother is in the hallway again. She's with someone. It seems to be a lawyer." Same answer. "I'm unavailable. They are demanding to see you. It's a matter of fiduciary responsibility. Call building security. If they don't leave within 5 minutes, we will call the police on charges of trespassing." They left after 10 minutes. On Wednesday, the calls intensified. My mother called from various numbers, friends' phones, blocked numbers, and numbers I didn't recognize. I ignored them all. On Thursday, I sent a letter via express mail to my office. My assistant brought it. It was marked urgent. I opened it. 3 pages in her handwriting, and her despair had grown. "I don't understand what happened. The bank says someone stopped making their mortgage payments. My credit cards are completely depleted, and payments aren't being processed. The country club is threatening to cancel my membership. My car is being repossessed next week. Please, if you know anything about the person who was helping me, I need to find them. I'm going to lose everything. Below. I'm sorry about the party. I was nervous. Please help me." I put the letter in my desk drawer and went back to work. On Friday afternoon, my finance manager called me again. He said, "Your mother's house is going to be foreclosed on. The bank submitted the necessary paperwork this morning. She has 90 days. This is a routine procedure. Her credit cards have been canceled for non-payment. The country club terminated her membership. Her car was repossessed yesterday. Thanks for the update. There's something else. She set up a GoFundMe campaign claiming to be a widow facing homelessness due to financial hardship. That's her choice. She raised $300 in 2 days. That's not surprising. Her real friends know she's been living above her income level for years. 2 weeks after the party, Aunt Eleanor called from her mother's phone. She said, "You need to talk to your mother. She's falling apart. The house is threatened with foreclosure. She has no money. She can't even buy groceries." I said calmly, "She can get a job. She's 62. Lots of people work at 62. In fact, most people don't have the luxury of early retirement. How can you be so cruel? She's your mother. She slapped me in front of 60 people and kicked me out of her house. She said it was a misunderstanding. There was no misunderstanding. She was very clear about how she felt. So you're going to let her lose everything? I don't cause her to lose anything. She loses things because she can't afford them. That's what's called consequences. But you can help her. I could do that. But I choose not to. This is cruel. Cruelty is slapping your daughter at a party because she talked to the caterer. Cruelty is calling her an embarrassment in front of all her acquaintances. I am simply withdrawing from a situation that no longer serves my interests. Aunt Eleanor hung up on me. 3 weeks after the party, my financial manager sent me a detailed report. My mother's house was going to be auctioned off because of her defaulted mortgage. Her credit score had dropped by 200 points. She had moved in temporarily with her Aunt Eleanor. She had applied for several retail jobs, but hadn't been hired yet. He added, I've also told people that you've cut ties with her. Some of her friends are calling your office. I said, transfer all these calls to our legal team. It has already been done. A month after the party, I received a final letter delivered to me by the postman, addressed to me personally. The letter was 1 page long. I know it was you who did this. Eleanor helped me find out. You've been paying for everything for 7 years. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know, but now I understand. You've been taking care of me, and I've treated you terribly. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Please help me. I'm begging you. I'm going to lose the house next month. I have nowhere to go. Please. I read it twice. Then I took out my phone and typed a reply. You're right. It was me. I paid your mortgage, your bills, your gym dues, your car lease, and your credit cards. For 7 years, I funded the lifestyle you thought you deserved. You never asked where the money came from. You never questioned that anonymous trust. You simply spent it. And while I was paying for your fancy dresses and garden parties, you shamed me. You slapped me in front of your friends. So now you have to think about how to support yourself like the rest of us. Consider this a lesson in financial independence. I didn't send it. I deleted it and wrote something simpler. The financial support that was being provided to you has ended. I have no information about who set it up or why it ended. I advise you to speak with a financial advisor about how to manage your finances in a way that suits your capabilities. I sent it. Her response was immediate. You did it. I know it was you. How could you do this to your own mother? I blocked her number. The house was sold at auction 6 weeks after the party. My mother moved to a small apartment on the other side of town and works part-time at a department store. I heard all this through sporadic updates from my Aunt Eleanor, which I hadn't asked for, but hadn't stopped. My business continued to flourish. The startup I was building went public 3 months after the party, and my shares were worth $70 million. I bought a larger apartment downtown, donated generously to charities supporting survivors of domestic violence, and established a scholarship fund for women in technology. Sometimes I drive past my mother's old house. A young family lives there now. They added a playground in the backyard where the party tent used to be. I stopped replying to my mother's letters after that. Eventually, she stopped writing to me. My finance manager once asked me if I regretted my decision. I thought long and hard before answering. I said, no, I regret helping her for 7 years. I regret not letting her face reality sooner. I regret believing that money could buy me respect, love, or even the simplest sense of decency. But I don't regret stopping. He said, this is fair. I built my success on understanding when an investment isn't yielding returns. My mother was simply the hardest investment to let go of. But like any successful entrepreneur, I learned how to minimize my losses. She taught me that love has its conditions, and I taught her that support does too. We both learned our lessons that spring. The difference is that I learned mine voluntarily.
सर्द लगता है दिल का हर एक कोना अब बहुत ही दूर भरता है अंधेरी दीवारों में खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं ये जो दिन सुहाने थे उन्हीं को सोचता हूँ मैं तुम्हारे बिन ये मौसम भी बड़ा सर्द लगता है दिल का हर एक कोना अब बहुत ही दर्द भरता है मेरे साथ सितारों से भी पूछता है पता तेरा कहाँ होगा, मगर खामोश है दुनिया, कहाँ मेरा जहाँ होगा। बस एक बार मुड़ के देख ले मेरी बेबसी की सूरत, मुझे है आज भी तेरी वफा की सख्त जरूरत। साए मेरे तन्हा सफर बस रह गया दर्द का असर, साए मेरे तन्हा सफर बस रह गया दर्द का असर, दर्द का असर।